Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back. In this video, we are looking at the NBA slate for Monday. We have 5 games today, not too overwhelming, perfectly right in the wheelhouse of a slate size that we enjoy. Not gonna spend too much time on the video, but perfectly reasonable slate. Tomorrow's slate's looking a lot bigger, so Monday, Tuesday schedules have kind of flip-flopped the last couple of weeks. But yesterday, we hit 10x on prize picks again for the free ones that I post on Twitter. It's the second time in the last 5 days went for 10x, and Luka Young hit those pretty easily, even with the foul trouble in Luka. Ingram hit that in the third. Bobby Portis hit that, I believe, in the third as well. And then Powell hit that probably in the third as well. So not much of a sweat. Definitely use my code process if you want to start playing on prize picks. And you can follow me on Twitter for the picks. I'll probably start posting them on the website for people that want some extra plays instead of just the one free ticket. But I'll always have that free ticket on Twitter forever. But let's go ahead and get into the video. As always, if you enjoy the content, appreciate it. Hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and check out the website. Link is in the description. Check out Prize Picks if you want to join. Check out the Twitter. Definitely want to follow there. I'll probably have like the Prize Picks stuff maybe at the end of the month, maybe beginning of next month, but that's the plan. But looking at the point guard plays today, we have Steph Curry at 10-5. Going up against the Thunder, it's a great matchup. The price tag on Curry has definitely come up. Last game, he only took 11 shots. They were feeding Klay Thompson, who was on fire in that game. He had 6 threes 6 of 8 from distance for Klay. I believe he had most of those in the first half. Chris Paul, 96. Not too much interest for me. He's kind of priced up. Same thing with LaMelo Ball. I still like Fred VanVleet at this price tag. I mean, when's the last time he doesn't get you at least 40 or 50? Every game he seems to be 50, 43, 43, 45, 40, 48, 51, 40. He's been one of the most consistent point guards in NBA this year, just one of the most consistent players in general. Even nice that he doesn't have a good shooting performance, he's typically still is getting you the fantasy points because he gets you some steals. The assists are always there, the rebounds are there at times. The matchup is excellent against Charlotte, so do like Fred VanVleet. Other picks, RJ Barrett had a huge game, but that Knicks-Utah game is probably one of my least favorite ones out of the 5. It's a tougher defensive matchup for both sides. Both sides aren't going to play super fast. So that one I'm just kind of looking to fade that game if I can, unless we get some news throughout the day. Kyle Lowry looks appealing at this price tag at 66. He looks even better because Tyler Hero, if you look at the Miami side, you have Hero is questionable, Strus is questionable, Caleb Martin is questionable, Jimmy Butler is questionable. So if 1, 2, or all 3 of those guys happen to miss, then Lowry would be a very, very good option. If Zach LaVine still misses, then you can go to DeSumo at $6,200. Spencer Dinwiddie. I mean, you never know what you're getting out of Dinwiddie. But last game, they got blown out of the building. They only put up 80 points. They had like 31 points at halftime. They did absolutely nothing offensively. Another terrible shooting performance for Dinwiddie, 1 of 5, 0 of 2 from distance. Coming off of a triple-double the previous game, in another game that he shot awful, it's just, without Bradley Beal, there's opportunity for Dinwiddie and Kuzma to really benefit. They haven't been the safest and easiest picks, but their ownerships are coming in super low-owned on when I would expect them to be a lot more popular, but people are fading them. They've been getting lucky 2 out of the 3 times. They definitely needed him against the Sixers in that game. But I'm going to go ahead and put him in just for one more time. He's averaged 38 in 2 games against the Heat this year. Not that it matters too much the way he's played recently. But there's just a lot of usage without Bradley Beal. And they're at home at least, so hopefully they can keep it close. Maybe Jimmy Butler or somebody else rests on Miami side that keeps it a little bit closer. Like maybe Tyler Hero rests after playing a ton of games in a row. So Dinwiddie at 62, I still think he looks appealing. Kobe White, if there's no Zach LaVine and he plays, but he's also dealing with his own injury, so keep an eye on that. And then at the bottom, Kemba is still cheap, but he's just risky for cash games, only a tournament option, and still a deep kind of dart throw, a tournament option at best, because they don't like to give him a lot of minutes unless he's shooting the ball really well. At shooting guard, we have LaMelo at 94, Zach LaVine 93. LaVine's a fade, even if he does play. A tough spot going up against a good defensive team in Phoenix, and 93 is a big price jump from what we expect with Vooch and DeRozan there now. Still like Josh Giddey a little bit at 78, but he looks better if there's no Lou Dort. I definitely like Lou Dort's price tag a lot more, and I do think Dort will play. He's not somebody that misses a lot of games, and probably will just have like a face shield after breaking his nose. Other picks would be like Trent and Thompson both look good at their price tags, both in great spots to potentially get hot and make a bunch of threes. If there's no Dort, you can go to Trey Mann at $4,900. He's taken a lot of shots recently, and he's getting a lot more playing time without Wiggins, and I don't think Wiggins is due to come back anytime soon. He definitely looked like he rolled his ankle pretty good in that game a couple days ago. That's not too many other good plays here in the mid-range at shooting guard. For the value range, you have Duncan Robinson. He looks better if they happen to miss Strus or Tyler Hero. He'll look a lot better in that case. Still looks okay fantasy. I mean, just with the value wise, but he's still been a very risky player, and the price tag is super appealing, but still the risk is there. Moving on to small forward, we have Bridges at 77. He looks pretty appealing. Butler, if he does play, can go to him at almost 10K, but do have some decent options in the mid range, like Wiggins going up against the Thunder. He's typically always done well against the Thunder. He's been playing pretty solid ball the last at least the last week and a half, 2 weeks. Bridges also come on strong, but his price tag is 61. Still never feel good about paying that much for Bridges, but he's been getting it done with the rebounds, assists, and getting some steals recently, which is kind of surprising. Not the steals, but the rebounds with Ayton and all those guys there. I definitely do like, maybe you can go Cam Johnson or definitely Kenrich Williams if there is no Dort again, but I'm expecting Dort to play. And if Dort does play, I'm going to definitely be looking to get to him at only $6,100 without SGA. Just super consistent recently in terms of fantasy points, gets you rebounds, gets you a couple of assists, good with the defensive stats. And he's been hitting his threes this year, which is a great sign. He has big potential just because he's a great defender. And if he can ever figure out to master this three-point shooting, he's going to be one of the best 3-and-D guys in the NBA. Other picks needed a value play at small forward. It could be like Green from the Bulls, depending on the news that we get out of Chicago. Strus, depending on some of the news we get, if there's no Tyler Hero. So a lot of these kind of have if-then scenarios here. KCP at 36 looks pretty good as a value pick right now. He's been disappointing, but still looks appealing. Small power forward, you have Siakam going up against Charlotte. Looks great. He's been balling as of late. Plays huge minutes as you expect. 92 isn't that expensive for a guy that's been averaging over 40 minutes a game for most of the year. In any sort of close game, he's playing 40. In his last 5, he's averaging 43. That 3 overtime game is still mixed in there, but still he's playing a boatload of minutes. You have Randall, who came on strong against his former team. He looked better as of late. And they don't have Gobert, so there is some good news for Randall and the Knicks here, but still don't want to force my way to get to a lot of these guys. You have Baisley as a decent option at 54. If he gets to be super popular, he's a perfect guy to kind of get off of. But if Dort doesn't play, then it looks a lot easier to get to Baisley. But if Dort plays, you can definitely go other options and go with Baisley, like Jay Crowder. He's only $4,100. He hasn't shot the ball well since he's been back, but price tag on him is super reasonable. He's gonna end up getting to over 30 minutes eventually if he's playing well, and the matchup isn't terrible going up against the Bulls here. And also they played Pokuševski a couple of minutes. He played 26 minutes, played well. If they say he's gonna be in the rotation again, then he definitely looks like a guy that you can try to get to. But right now I'm going to go ahead and put in Siakam just because not too many great options in terms of pay-ups here. I think he looks great just given the matchup and the minutes that he plays. At center, you have Vooch at 10-1. Hopefully Levine plays today, but if he doesn't, then you can prioritize getting to at least one of Vooch or DeRozan on DraftKings. Other picks would be maybe Whiteside, but he didn't even start last game, but he still got the minutes and still played well. Montrezl Harrell looks pretty appealing just because there's no Gafford today, so you're going to get Harrell to play a lot of minutes. I always split some of the center minutes with Thomas Bryant. And speaking of Bryant, he's only $3,400. He's probably going to start again as he has been, but he hasn't been doing great. But there's no Gafford, who's out with protocols. The price tag on Bryant is as cheap as it's been, and they still have some upside. If you ever decide to give him over 20 minutes, if he's playing well enough, then he can definitely produce. And another guy that's been producing is Chris Boucher. Even in limited minutes, last couple of games, been able to get it done. 27-38 for him in the last couple of games. He looks like a good option if you wanted to get to one of these Toronto pieces besides Siakam and Van Fleet and maybe Gary Trent. I'm going to go ahead and put in probably Montrezl Harrell for right now. There's not too many great options here. And even though even though Bryant will start, Harrell will probably still get the lion's share of the split. Maybe you could even go with like Precious Achiuwa if you need a really cheap play. He's been getting some minutes off the bench and gets you rebounds, gets you some looks at the basket. Maybe can get you a double-double if he plays really, really well. But right now, I don't mind getting to Harrell here at 47. We have 59, 50 left. Moving on to the guard position. Looking at another Toronto piece could be Gary Trent going up against Charlotte. He plays a lot of minutes, been shooting the ball as well as anybody has in the NBA. Played well against the against the Hornets earlier this year, and it's a team that you'd expect guys to have success on. They give up a ton of points per game. They let opponents shoot the ball pretty well from distance, and Trent can definitely get red hot. So I'll plug in Gary Trent for right now at 63. And then at the forward position, I do like Kuzma a little bit. He's only $7,400. He also had a disappointing game, like the whole team. They got absolutely blown out of the building. But I do like Kuzma to bounce back here. 74, him and Dinwiddie and Harrell. Hopefully they all come through. Still some risk there with Washington not really playing well as of late, but those are the three producers on the team. If the game is close, if they end up putting up some points, it's going to be because of those three guys really being involved. At least two of those three should probably have a good game. If they win the game or if they happen to keep it within like 10. But overall, that's what I like as an early look. I'm sure we'll get some news throughout the day. But that is it for DraftKings. Let's go over to FanDuel. All right, for FanDuel, point guard plays, we have Chris Paul at 10-2. He's more expensive than Curry. I like Curry more than Chris Paul. I like Curry more than LaMelo. Still like Van Fleet, like him more than. Definitely Poole is a fade at $6,900 with Klay Thompson and all those guys back. I like Terry Rozier's price tag a lot at only 65. I love Giddey at 65. Dinwiddie at 59. I still like him. And then you have Kyle Lowry at 56. So you have a ton of options right here in the mid-range. All look really, really appealing. You might get some more with like Gabe Vincent, depending on the news we get out of Miami. But for right now, I'll plug in Dinwiddie just because, I'm kind of like, I definitely don't want to fade Dinwiddie today and have him go for like 40 at low ownership. At shooting guard, I like Butler more than DeRozan if he plays. Going with Levine looks good at 75 compared to 93 on DraftKings. And then right here in the 6K range, you have Dort, Gary Trent. But the really appealing guys, besides those, those guys are still appealing, but Rozier looks a lot better. Giddey looks amazing. Klay Thompson looks amazing at 64, even though he doesn't play a ton of minutes. I'm not looking to get to these 5K guys besides Gordon Hayward, who looks good just because he's super cheap. And maybe he's going to have a good game soon. He's been struggling since he's been back from missing an extended period of time. And then Ty Jerome maybe if he starts, but I'm expecting Dort to play. So Giddey is going to be the play. He's always super popular at this price tag, but it's tough to not really prioritize him when you know he's going to get such a high usage rate without SGA. They're at home going up against Golden State. So a lot to like with Josh Giddey. Small forward, like Kuzma still. I like Kuzma more than OG now that, OG, there's probably some better picks I like from Toronto side that are cheaper and, not even cheaper, but just like, I like some of the other starters more than him. Like Trent looks good at 66. And then definitely I'm looking at Scotty Barnes at only 62. I'd rather go with Barnes than pay for $8,000 OG. And then Baisley at 53 looks okay depending on the news we get. You can go with Boyan or Gordon Hayward as your value picks here at $51 and $5,200 respectively. Crowder at 45 looks good as a value pick. Kenrich Williams, if there's no Dort, even if Dort plays, you can still look to him just because he's pretty affordable. But for right now, go ahead and put in Scotty Barnes. Power forward, I like Pascal at 97, but I do like Kuzma cheaper. You can go with maybe Baisley depending on the news we get. Boucher at only 46 looks appealing just because he's actually been getting some solidified minutes off the bench, backing up the 4 with Scotty Barnes. Occasionally can get some backup 5, but him and Precious Achua are on the court together at times, and whoever plays the center out of those two is just depending on. It doesn't really matter. They're both going to be looking to get rebounds, but you can go with. I like Boucher more than Achua for $400 more, and that's basically it. Not too much to like with the value range at power forward. I'm gonna go ahead and put in Kyle Kuzma, and then last but not least at center, you don't have too many great options here. Vooch looks good, but he's super expensive. Bam looks good, but he's also expensive at 94. I guess Ayton would be one of the better picks at 76, but he still hasn't gotten that ton of minutes. Last game was a blowout, so maybe you can chalk it up to that. But they still will probably get McGee some minutes. They might look to get Biyombo some minutes. They got Jalen Smith some minutes last game, so they still are not short on bodies at the 5. And then you have like Montrezl Harrell at 49 as a value pick that you can look to. Or you can try to spice things up and go with like Chris Boucher at 46. He's super cheap. He's come through the last couple of games. I wouldn't be surprised if he comes through again today, given how good of a matchup it is against Charlotte. On DraftKings, he's more expensive than Montrezl Harrell. So I like Harrell cheaper than him, but on FanDuel, he is cheaper than Montrez. So you can probably maybe go to Boucher. But I'll see. Maybe I'll go with Montrez, depending on what news we get. But I definitely think he's going to produce. If he's given anywhere between like 18 and 20 minutes, he should definitely have at least 5 to 8x. Probably a couple of blocks mixed in there as well. But that's it for the video. Even though it's only 5 games, I kind of do like this slate. Hopefully the Washington guys come through today, because if they get blown out again, I will be super tilted, and will definitely not be rostering them again. But that's it for the video. Thank you for watching. Best of luck tonight, and I will see you all next time.